So welcome to the second set of Tea and Crumpets. I have obviously Rex, the king of fossil fuels, and then my mother, Gloria S, another queen.
Mother.
Queen mother.
Yes.
Yes. So
I'm just glad I've got my dinosaur with me here. I feel like, I'm sitting here between these two strong Selma women, and I'm glad I got some reinforcements here.
yes. So, but anyway, my mom also sells real estate. I learned everything from her.
That's correct.
Oh, yep. See, there you go. And I knew it. And so, but anyway, Rex is always talked about how I came from a long line of strong women, and so obviously we want to give kudos to my mother because she did such a wonderful job.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I brought
It's true.
And this is my grandmother. And the funny thing is my mom, her name is Mary Frances. We call her Mary Frances. And so, but my mother gave me a little crown that my Mary Frances used to wear. So now we see the long line of where the crown
strong
came
business
from.
women. But I remember, we talk about Selma and we're all from Selma. But I remember going to the furniture store when I was younger. And of course, another thing I told people, I think we bought a lot more furniture when I was younger because I don't ever buy furniture anymore. I'll keep it forever.
Yes.
But back then, everybody bought furniture like every year. I mean, it was like time to go to the furniture store and buy new stuff. And so, I can always remember going out there when I was young and how good of a job she did running that thing.
She did a very good job with my daddy, Emmett. He was basically the carpet, the drapes, and the financial person.
Yeah.
And Mary Frances was the salesperson.
She was the salesperson.
She wore black nail polish.
That she had the patent on back in the 30s.
Oh.
And we didn't know we had to renew it. One day we were in the store and there was black fingernail polish. We found out oops, Max Factor had Revlon bought it.
Oh wow.
It expired.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though, isn't it?
That is cool. I'm wearing black nail polish on my toes. Y'all can't see that, but
she wore it all the time. She wore black clothes constantly.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I can remember that also about her, the black nail polish, and I've always thought that was really cool because, she was doing her own thing.
She always did her own
right,
thing.
which I think both of y'all and anybody who knows the two of you, understand that both of y'all kind of do the same anyway. So, but I guess you get it naturally, and,
I'm not as bad as Mary Frances was. Close.
But that generation, we were talking about they were some true Southern ladies, in that
Yes.
generation, and so there's still, some of that, but the way they spoke and carried themselves, it was just a little bit more for that generation, and
Very few women were in business back in the 40s and the 50s.
that's even more true.
Yeah.
That was even more impressive what she was doing, because she was a woman out there leading the way. But some of that Selma stuff,
She's a trailblazer.
and all that stuff,
Yeah.
she did it. But y'all were able to translate that into coming down here, which obviously you still have a lot of friends in Selma. And whenever people, from up there near real estate, it's nice that they have you guys because they're people you can trust that are from the same place we're all from. But it's been impressive to see how y'all took that and came down here and the success you both had, in the real estate business, here.
Yeah, because you've been down here for 24 years selling.
Exactly.
So we've seen some
selling
roller
in Selma
coaster.
before that.
Yeah. So.
I mean, sales
And
are,
then I followed her footsteps.
but I mean, good salespeople, that's not something that you can really go to school for. I always feel like you either have it or you don't. And
It's
I mean,
a gift.
It is a
Yeah.
gift, and so, we were talking about marketing and stuff earlier and how our minds kind of think the same way. And so, whether it's selling real estate or fossil fuels or whatever, just establishing these relationships, being able to sell things, whether it's furniture,
Yeah.
from your mother or your grandmother, or me selling fuel or you guys selling real estate, it's about establishing these relationships through trust and through good work that carries over for years. And so the fact that y'all both been in this business down here for so many years, it just obviously shows that, your clients trust you and the relationships you've both been able to
Repeats and
build.
referrals.
Right.
Yeah.
Have carried forward. And I mean, you know, it's been pretty cool because y'all both have done a good job with stuff like marketing from like, say, like the billboards and stuff. And, you know, I think it's funny for me also, like, billboards are one of those things I think that like attorneys and real estate people, like, they get the most mileage out of those, you know. And so I think you both built a lot of your business off of the billboards and the advertising and, you know, and just being able to put yourself out there in the right way.
Well, too, yeah, just, you know, well, you taught me, Mom, that, you know, like, you want to build your name up and get repeats and referrals, and then that way you're not having to spend maybe so much money trying to cultivate, get, you know, new business, so to speak. But, and that's, I mean, if you do a great job for somebody, they might tell 2 people. If you do a terrible job, they're going to tell the world. And now you got to be careful about Facebook. So you got to do a good job, and it's, customer service is just key. So we treat people like royalty. They'll keep coming back.
And, you know, even though you're down here, sometimes I think you know more than what goes on like in
do.
Dallas County than I do.
I do.
And so even though you moved away, I feel like you're still more plugged into like Selma than I am.
She is.
Every day.
You talk to all these Selma people all the time.
I would wake up in the morning, no lie, I'd probably, 6:30 in the morning. My mom's already been up since 4 a.m. She knows what's going on with my friends and what all's happening from the night before.
Who's passed away, who's in the hospital.
Yeah,
what's
she knows what's going on.
Some bad stuff, some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's every city everywhere for sure.
Yeah.
You know, the good and the bad come, but yeah,
But Mama's in the know.
No, she is for sure. But I
I
mean,
could never get in trouble. And if I did, I have to tell her first.
Oh, yeah, because I'll know it in an hour.
I know.
No, that's
She's
funny.
Like, don't embarrass me.
I definitely remember the same conversation with my father, you know, in the small town. It was like, it's not if I find out, it's when.
So just
And
you
so,
be the first to tell me.
And I figured that out quickly.
Oh, yes.
You know.
My daddy always said, you better tell me before I hear it somewhere.
Yes.
You know, going back, and I mean, we've already kind of moved past your mother and stuff, but what was like, if you had like one crazy sales story, there's something that you remembered about her, like, what was like one of the craziest things she ever did that you can remember?
Big difference.
Yeah, in business.
Well, one thing that was kind of funny was there was an agent at the office at Remax that used to sell furniture.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And he would tell, so he started selling real estate down here, and he told Mama that how he would have to call on Big Mary Francis, and he was terrified of her. He was
terrified.
So intimidating.
And he'd stick his head through the front door and go, "Can I come in? Are you a salesman?" "Yes." "Get out. I hate sales."
Yeah. And so, but she was apparently very intimidating, and she was so petite.
Oh,
but she was a very stern businesswoman. Like, and she would call me up and go, "Have you done anything good today? Have you sold anything?" And I would say, well, I would have to tell her. And this was when she was early 90s.
Yeah.
And she was living down here, and she would say, "Have you done anything good?" And I was like, "Well, you know, I've got this house under contract. I've showed this. Thank you for the report." Click and hang up. She always hung up on you. She never said bye. She never
Just
hangs
hangs
My
up.
grandmother was like that as well, but she didn't want to waste time. Like, they understood that, like, time was valuable, and so, like, we were going to get straight to the point, you know, and so, like, I think we all, like, and I mean, I'm the same thing that, you know, both sides of grandparents and everybody came from great people, but, you know, there was a lot of people like that in Selma, you know,
Oh, yeah.
a long time ago. And so, I mean, there still are, but, you know, years ago in that generation of your mother,
They
you know,
built the town.
They did.
Yeah,
And so, but, you know, a lot of that, like I said, is carried over to what y'all are doing now down here from what you learned from her.
Yeah, and not very much impressed Big Mary Francis at all.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's things that would not know. She saw beyond the surface of a lot, and she, you know, like she looked at, you know, a lot deeper, and things that I think people's like character was really more impressive to her than possibly how much furniture they could buy, or like how much, you know, she was. But everybody talked about how they would go to the furniture store and talk and.
Oh, they would come in early in the morning at 8 o'clock, sit down and discuss all their problems with her and their intimate problems and family fusses. And she'd sit there and listen, and then I would just come in and she'd go away, we're talking.
Yeah.
Go away. You know, and everything was confidential. And then when she passed away at the funeral, one guy came down from Atlanta and he said, I can now tell you, thank you. He said, we lost everything and your parents gave us all the furniture for our house.
Wow.
And we were not allowed to tell anybody.
Yeah.
And he said, we ended up getting a job and your dad came in and put the carpet down because it was so cold and we had little children. But we had to swear not to tell anybody.
That was
They
awesome.
did lots of stuff like that, but they didn't tell till after her funeral
Yeah.
because they promised that.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. And a lot of people, they just cared about, you know, everyone, and it wasn't about the money or anything. It was just doing the right thing.
Everybody was looking
Yeah.
out for the other person.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they grew up after the Depression. Emmett was in the Depression. She grew up during the Depression, but her dad was a master plumber, and Emmett said she never knew about the Depression because she was young.
Yeah.
And you know, they were able to all eat in Selma.
Mhm.
Selma really survived it in a gracious way.
Well, that's
Right.
wonderful.
Well, you know, and you know, I could go on and on about Selma. I won't get into it, but I tend to like go around town, and we have so many tourists and stuff. And I have my own tour that I give people when I see them, but you know, and
We'll have to go and get.
Yeah, that's a
we'll have to get
whole-
a Rex tour.
yeah,
when
that's
we,
a whole
when we
nother
go to
thing.
Selma.
All I will say about that is that everybody knows in 1815 when Thomas More came down from Tennessee, that first little structure he built was on my corner. on
Oh,
Water
there you
Avenue.
go.
Yeah. So the first post-Indian structure was a one little bedroom log cabin, and it was on my corner. Now, we haven't figured out, but we are going to have a Thomas More Day in Selma before long. I just haven't figured out exactly what day I want that to be, but it feels like a springtime
Oh,
event.
do it on your birthday.
Oh, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah,
Oh,
also
yes.
Rex
Yes.
Day.
And so, yeah, and so, you know, Selma's got a big history and stuff, but you know, people know a lot about, you know, different things, but I start to tell them about like the beginning and things because they don't ever hear that.
We're gonna need to go on the Rex tour.
Yeah, that's a
That's
long,
what we're
that's a
gonna
whole,
need to
that's for a
do.
whole nother story though. Like that's a whole episode on its own if I start talking about Selma too much. So.
Well, you
know.
got the people from what was it, the Pickers.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
had the
the
American
Pickers. If
Pickers.
you haven't
come,
seen-
yeah,
Y'all have to Google
Searching
American
Selma.
Pickers.
Searching Selma was the name of the episode.
Yeah,
and
Searching
so-
Selma, American Pickers.
Selma
It was
is
so
a wonderful
entertaining.
place.
It is.
You could tell the people on the host on it really enjoyed being there because there was so much history in Selma,
We had a
and
good
so
day.
they just really, I mean, they were enjoy. I think you gave them the like part of the tour.
Well, it
too.
was like a lot of things I do, and it was organic. We just let these things happen naturally. Like we
Yeah.
weren't like planning any of that stuff out. I've had a lot of people ask, like, "Well, I mean, did y'all come in and, you know, rehearse?" And it was all just like this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't like to plan things out because then it looks rehearsed. I mean, you can tell right now what we're doing is very natural. But you know,
Yeah.
three salesmen
No
from
question.
three salesmen from Selma, Alabama. This is just kind of flows. So I told
Yeah.
everybody, I was like, the main thing you know we're gonna have to do is not go off too much into the weeds because we all like to talk.
Well, Mama was best friends and grew up with your dad and your mom
And your mother.
Mhm.
and your aunt, and so
Oh,
they
yeah.
go way back.
Emmett and his grandmother and Morthland were best friends all the way before first grade, all the way through. And when Emmett was in the hospital with a heart attack, she was crying louder than Mama was. I thought she was sick. And Big A was just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's crazy now because when we moved back to Selma, like it's about 10 years ago or so, now my daughter Emma is friends with like so many of these people that, you know, the grandparents were friends, the generational friends were these families. You know, we just have generations of people who've been friends, and it's still that way. But, you know, just a lot of people don't realize
And
all
you
the
don't
beautiful
have that
things.
everywhere.
That's right.
No.
No, it's very personal there where everybody, if you've got a problem,
Multi-generation.
everybody steps in.
That's right.
Yeah.
They really do.
And they do, and I think, you know, kind of bring this thing back to, I guess, real estate in Baldwin County.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the thing that's why also so many people have come to both of you through the years is just because they feel they can trust you
Yeah.
when it comes to like buying real estate because it's such a big thing. But when we're all from the same place like this, you know, we all understand Selma people, and I feel like
We
just
come
people,
from good stock.
right? But all the people in that Black Belt area, you know, all the Black Belt area, they just feel like, you know, that they can call the two of y'all, you know, and get the help they need down here and trust you like to help with their real estate needs or what they're trying to do.
And we had the experience.
So, I mean, I'm curious, like, you know, kind of, and I've got ADD and I try to do these turns sometimes where I kind of just go off. But, like, you know, how is the real estate business right now? Because, like, for me, like, I know that, you know, we all hear about inflation and the economy and all this crazy stuff. You know, are y'all both selling property still? I hear it's still good.
Yes, it's good. And I have people.
I think it's better this year than it was last year, like coming into the spring.
Well, I have people that I talk to them about their situation in private, and I ask them, tell me about your finances. Tell me about, because it doesn't go any further than me.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. And I may tell you it's not the time to sell.
Right.
And that's how I make a living. And I will tell you when it's time to sell.
Yep.
And we don't.
Or buy.
Yeah. And you got to know when to fold them.
Yeah, when to fold.
Well, I mean, that's the value I think that gets lost in a good real estate agent. And, like, you know,
look
we
out
keep
for
talking about,
themselves
right,
and not the actual customer.
That trust and being able to just, you know, to live. Because, like, what you're talking about, it's a lot like an attorney. You know, like,
you can't
that
put the
trust.
money first. You cannot
have
put money first. Because then
you'll
mess up.
Well, people can sense that.
Right.
You know, and they'll think that, she's only out for money. And I've had other realtors just even yesterday say how the realtor should have ended up selling 2 units for the price of 1, and she convinced the other to sell the second unit, and the daughter was like, it was too late for me to intervene. And she said, I wish I'd referred her to you because A, you wouldn't have told her to sell both units, and you would have actually sold it for fair market value.
Right.
And so it's just a shame that, you know, we work in a field where some people really just only look out for themselves and gives us a bad rap.
But, you know, that's fine because time will tell on everyone like that.
Yeah.
Like, over time, the truth comes out no matter what that is. And so that's why you've both been in this business so long, and we've been selling fuel our family for 53 years.
You sure
and
have.
so it's the same thing. Time tells
so
time tells the truth on everything, and y'all have been in real estate business for this long for a reason, and it's because, you know, people can come and they can trust you, and they can understand when you're talking about things like those finances that it stays with you, and that you're going to look out for their best interest.
Exactly, and that's the most important thing because people don't trust people when you're dealing with their money.
Yeah.
Especially in sales and you know.
It doesn't matter family or anything when you're dealing with money and stuff. It has to be handled, you know, in a different way because it's business.
I've had to go with people to their lawyers, sit them down, make sure they have wills. You've got to have wills. You've got whether you have anything or not. And then I have gone and I've got one guy right now. He's the last living relative. And he just said, I don't care where it goes, so he's going to make me executor.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And I told him, he told me where he wanted that money to go to, like St. Jude's. I said, believe me, it's going there.
Sure.
Yeah.
You don't mess with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the reputation that you build over time, and it takes years and years to build, which you have, and you can lose it in a second.
I'm still scared of my daddy.
Well, I mean, that's true though. I mean,
I know
what he looked like. I'm still scared.
Sure. But I mean, we all build years of reputation, and we have to make sure that every day you maintain it because it doesn't take anything, you know, in business to lose, you know, your reputation. So that's what's so great.
Bad news travels fast.
Oh yeah.
You know, but while I've got, you know, Big Gloria here, I'm just curious. I have to ask her one question.
Yes.
What do you think about electric cars? Because I don't like them.
I'm afraid I won't know how to deal with them.
You mean when they catch on fire spontaneously?
They just one caught on fire the other day.
Yeah, they just on their own catch on fire.
Well, oh my gosh, there's no such thing as a driverless car either.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But I don't know, I'm a bad driver, so that might be a good idea. Nobody wants to.
It doesn't hurt that some people might need some assistance.
Yeah, but I'm so happy to be in the car. It's still driving. And looking around.
And then,
I know you need my mother loves a chauffeur.
Well, I mean, we all enjoy a good chauffeur occasionally in life, you know.
Yeah,
but
electric cars to me remind me of the bumper cars back at the fair.
They look weird.
Oh yeah, and you can't. What if you run out of electricity?
Then they bring a diesel generator. They bring like a diesel generator to charge you.
Really?
Yes, or they they tow your car back to the garage.
And I think it's like 20. Is it 20,000
for batteries?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But they're
Yeah.
very expensive, and that doesn't even begin to talk about what happens to the earth when they get those batteries. But that's for another show too.
Yes.
Really?
It's awful.
This is a little different from our normal one, but I've enjoyed it. I think this has been fun. Yes, it's been informative in a different way. So thank y'all for watching.
Thanks.